live now. And then I think you'll have to go to my profile. You'll have to go to my profile and share it, I think.
You'll have to be quiet.
Let me go to your profile real quick and share it. Facebook. You live on your actual?
Yeah, on my actual page. Yeah, the feed just went up, so you might have to refresh it, but it just went up.
No, I was on the fan page at first.
Yeah, I'm actually about to post it there. All right.
You live in the Wealth Meetup?
You know what? Damn it. All right, I gotta hold on. I gotta edit it because it by default it posts as private. Where I don't know why it's set like that, but it posts as private where only I can see it. And then so I've got to change it. I'm changing it to public now. All right, there we go. So, all right, you should be, give it 1 second. All right, you should be able to see it now.
Yeah, I see it.
All right, perfect. We're good to go. All right, so I'm go ahead and start sharing this. Feel free to share it. I'm gonna share it to a couple groups and everything. That's gonna take me a couple minutes.
Share it to the BMI page.
Okay. What's up? What's up? I don't know if we have anybody watching on Facebook just yet, but if so, please give us a couple of minutes while we get the word out. And do me a favor, like this video and share it with your timeline.
Dropping a lot of major gems today. Just make sure you tuned in, tapped in. Get you some pencil and paper, notepad on your phone, something.
So I gotta jot down them jewels. Man, we're gonna have to get you we're gonna have to have you do a comedy sketch to open us up, man.
It's a comedy skit.
Yeah, you gotta walk us through one of those TikTok joints, man.
I have been like looking at skits as far as like, cause I wanted to start a separate like YouTube channel with like certain skits, but I need the equipment first. So I'm trying to figure out what type of equipment I need and little stuff like that. But yeah, I definitely want to get started into it. Even if I ain't, doing it, I definitely could write some funny skits.
Yeah, no, you got to, man. That's all part of that process of mastering that creative energy, man. I mean, that's how I see it. I think it could only help you get better. Plus, I think, man, it could open the door for you to be able to write content that, let's say, for example, somebody could turn into a movie, or you could write for shows or something like that, because your content. Yeah, absolutely, man. Your content is definitely funny enough, and by being able to, put that in different formats, man, it just gives you more options on how to distribute your funny.
Definitely. That's what me and my dog was talking about the other day, because he was speaking on, it was the Fresh Prince special that had just came out on, I think, Showtime. and we was looking at some of the comedians in the backgrounds that never like actually had an acting part, but they probably wrote some of Will's and mannerisms, the way he talked, little things like that, little funny things he said, even the the Yo Mama joke. So yeah, no, that was nice.
What's up, Janae? I see you logged on. How you doing this evening?
Great. Good evening, fellas. How you doing?
We are doing great. How are you?
I'm awesome. I just got out of class.
Uh-oh.
That's why I'm late.
Hey, it's all good. We actually just getting warmed up. I'm still trying to get the word out on Facebook. I'm almost done with that, but no, you're not late. You're right on time. But you got out of what kind of classroom did you get out of?
um, well, I'm at LaGuardia. So this class was my family law. I'm studying paralegal.
Okay. Yep.
So that's the class I had this evening.
Okay. I appreciate the dedication because I know how it is. One, being a night class and then or a class that ends at night and then jumping on something else. I appreciate you. And then for anybody who's watching on Facebook, because I see we got a couple eyes on Facebook, definitely check in. We want this to be interactive. If you would like the actual Zoom link, shoot me a message and I will send you the Zoom information. But if you want to watch from Facebook, that's perfectly fine. Just let us know that you're in the building. Let us know where you're checking in from, and also don't be afraid to comment and let us know. What's up, Tutu? I see you. Don't be afraid to comment and engage in the conversation. And this is we want this to be engaging and hopefully be as interactive as possible, considering the fact that some of you all are on Facebook and some of us are on Zoom. But it is 7:09. What's up, Auntie? I see my aunt has logged on. Let us know where you logging in from. We got Cincinnati in the building a couple times. We got New York in the building. All right, cool. So, what's up, Michael Boyd? Okay, we got Michael Boyd in DC. You out in my area, Michael? I'm out here near Andrews Air Force Base. All right, great. So, I'll give it till 7:10, and then I'm gonna hand it over to Luke. I'm gonna let him give his introduction. But 7:09 we'll get started at 7:10, and hopefully we'll get through the meeting and everybody can be on their way. Enjoy your night, have your dinner, relax, kick your feet up, do whatever you need to do to wind down from the day. And some of you might just be getting started with your grind. So whatever it is, thank you for taking the time to log in with us. All right, it's 7:10. It's 7:10. I'm gonna pass it. All right, Luke, you got it.
This is Luke Shakur, the author of Optimism. I linked up with Kevin, I want to say about a year ago through the BMM organization. But yeah, like I said, I got a YouTube channel, Luke Shakur, the author of Optimism, general advice, motivational speeches, just anything pretty much pertaining to, being a better person. Been, like I said, real estate investments. Like I said, a personality on any kind of channel. Check me out on any social media, Luke Shakur _. But yeah, man, like I said, we just here to drop these gems. We trying to put money in people's pockets for more than just tax seasons and things like that. We trying to make sure that the black dollar stays the black dollar, but more than anything, we trying to make sure that we can at least make that money in the first route. So giving our kids opportunities to have money before they're born is what we got to put back into the community, and that's definitely what this is gonna do.
I appreciate you, Luke. So me and Luke, we met almost a year ago. It's hard to believe, man. Time flies. But we met almost a year ago, and we, like you said, we met through an organization called the Black Males Man Cave, and he actually took at the time around that time I had started a 12-week coaching program to just kind of teach people about real estate wholesaling and real estate acquisitions. And Luke took the class, man. He showed up to every class. He was one of the most consistent ones. I think he was the most consistent, matter of fact. And we had a lot of good conversations, and he really absorbed the information, and really took off, and really started to speed up his real estate journey. And over the course of time, we've become better friends. And I reached out to actually my Facebook friends list and was like, hey, I'm looking to start something, and I'm looking for anybody who would like to be involved. And he raised his hand and was like, man, absolutely. So I want to thank Luke for being on tonight. He has really helped me with being able to have somebody to bounce ideas off of, and to help me get the ball rolling. This meetup is an idea that I had been planning for a little while, but I hadn't quite actually gotten to the point of getting started. And Luke helped me with getting started, and formulating some of the design work and things like that. So Luke, man, I appreciate you for logging on. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to share my screen so you all can see my presentation for tonight. All right, Luke, let me see. Can you hear me as I'm sharing my screen? Can you talk, Luke?
Yes, can you hear me?
All right, perfect. So, all right, so here we are. Let me move this out the way, hide floating meeting controls. Okay, all right, so, all right, Luke, I'm gonna hand it over to you. You did.
Okay, this is the Wealth Club. We're definitely going to talk about this every second Wednesday. Make sure y'all tuning in. This is the Multifamily Meetup. We're going to talk about everything from funding multifamily unit properties, to cleaning them, to residential property. Just management, all in the general. Just any aspect that you can think about when it comes to the Multifamily Meetup. I think it's definitely one of the more easiest and more, how would I say, realistic places to jump into the real estate world with, even if you gotta buy you a unit and live in one of them and then go from there. But it's definitely a startup. So I'm gonna hand it to my man Kevin Breckenridge. He's 10 plus years in the game industry. Like I said, he's definitely put me onto a lot of gyms, helped me out along my way, and he's really sped up my process. I was, lollygagging, so I ran into Kevin, and the rest is history.
All right, appreciate it. So, welcome everybody to I like to call it the Wealth Checkup, and TWC for short. And the idea behind the Wealth Checkup is literally, checking up on your wealth, in the same fashion as when you go to a doctor's office to get a checkup on your physical health, your mental health. You go to other places to get a checkup on your spiritual health or your emotional health. We should also be taking time to do a checkup on our financial health. And by implementing this idea of the wealth checkup, there you put into place a systematic and a consistent process or system where you are at least thinking about where you stand in terms of your wealth, and then over time getting the tools, the knowledge, and the resources that you need to implement a wealth plan, or to help edit or make additions to, or whatever changes you need to make to your wealth plan, so that you can improve your financial health. So welcome to the first ever the Wealth Checkup Multifamily Meetup. Like Luke said, this is something that we'll be doing every second Wednesday of the month at 7 p.m. We'll be doing via Zoom as well as Facebook Live. What's up, Terrence? I see you. What's up, Vebe? I see you. Make sure when y'all come on, man, let us know where you're checking in from. If you have any questions, go ahead and ask them. I'm watching the comments, so definitely want this to be interactive. But welcome again. So with the very first meeting, I just kind of give you a quick overview of what tonight is going to look like. I'm going to try to get you all out of here, within 30, 40 minutes tops. Maybe we'll go to 8 o'clock, but that's going to partly depend on you. But today's agenda, we had our welcome. And what's up, Cincinnati? I see you, Marcellus. We had our introductions. And tonight, actually, I'm going to be the speaker, but each month we're going to have somebody come in and talk about a different topic. So over the next couple of months, we're going to have somebody come in to talk about concepts like infinity banking and how to use that to invest. We're going to have lenders come in and talk to you about financing and how to secure financing, as well as how to secure financing for multiple properties as you grow your portfolio. We're going to have people come in and talk about different aspects of property management, and we'll have people come in and talk about house hacking and all types of stuff. And the goal is to really just provide you with, the knowledge, the tools, and the resources that you need, again, to improve your financial health. And although we only meet on a monthly basis, I'll talk a little bit more about what some of the other things that we have going on to help foster that journey and to help improve or help support you in that journey of achieving wealth and improving your, your financial condition, or maintaining your financial condition. I'll talk about that in a second. All right, so here we are. Now, as far as the introductions, I'm your host. I'm the one hosting the meetups. I'm Kevin Breckenridge. I'm a real estate broker, investor, speaker, coach, and entrepreneur. And Luke, man, has been gracious enough to be the co-host of this event. Luke, the author of Optimism. Shakur, he's a real estate investor and entrepreneur. And if you don't follow Luke on Facebook, make sure you follow him, man. This is one of the funniest dudes I know, man. One of the funniest dudes I know. And I don't really get on TikTok, but in terms of the TikToks that I see, he definitely has some of the funniest TikToks out there. But nonetheless, you can find him on, like you said, all major social media channels. And he's just a good guy all around. And if you understand the health benefits of laughter and comedy, you definitely want to check him out, man, because he definitely is good for lightening the spirit and helping you laugh on any given day or at any given moment. So appreciate you, Luke, for helping us co-host this. And Luke doesn't know, but I'm gonna try to pull him in to lead a chapter at some point, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. All right, so moving on. Um, Again, I'm tonight's speaker, real estate broker, investor, speaker, coach, and entrepreneur. And just to give you a little bit about who I am, this is funny because although that question seems so simple, like who are you? When I ask people, especially in the position that I'm in now, where if you've been following me for any amount of time, you know that I interview a lot of people. And when I interview people, part of the process of setting up these interviews is just asking people, who are you? Do you have a bio? And that bio is supposed to tell me, who you are, or tell anyone who reads it, who you are and what is it that you do. And although we know who we are and we know what we do, sometimes when people ask us that, it's difficult for us to answer. And part of the part of the reason, oftentimes, is because we aren't thinking about ourselves as an individual brand, even if we own a business or have owned businesses, or whatever our job profession is. We often look past us as an individual and we associate with something else that describes us. But when you are talking about who you are as a person and you're identifying yourself as a brand, as an individual that has branded yourself, it's important that you're able to answer the question of who are you and what do you do. In the same respect, for me, that used to be a difficult question to answer because I always felt like my journey was kind of fluid, especially my real estate journey was always kind of fluid. And I was always I got started in this business 10 years ago. And by business, I mean the real estate industry, but I got started in the real estate industry 10 years ago. And I got started on this quest to just figure out what did I want to do with my life, what did I want to do professionally. I was, fresh out of college, a couple years out of college, and hadn't really found the niche or the space that I wanted to operate in. And so I decided to become a real estate agent, and that is what really launched my real estate career and my experience in real estate. But over the course of that time, I was still just trying to figure out, okay, what do I want to do in this business? And if you've been studying real estate, if you've been involved in real estate, maybe you even work in real estate, you know that real estate is an extremely vast profession. It's an extremely vast industry, and there are so many different routes that you can go. And especially when you operate as an individual, for example, you're not working for a major corporation or something, you almost have the ability to take your career in any direction you want to go in. You can take it anywhere that you want to go, and you can experiment and try different things. So that's kind of been the story for me the last 10 years, was really just finding out who I am and what do I want to do in this industry. And so as a part of that journey, I've been a real estate agent. I became a real estate broker, I think as far back as 2014, 2015. It's hard to believe that it's been that long. I've done a lot of traditional sales work where I've worked with normal home buyers and normal home sellers. I've done a lot of investment work where I've worked with a lot of investors. I've done some investing myself where I've done $1 million development projects. I've sold listings at million plus. I've sold them at 500,000. I've sold them at 750,000. I've done wholesale deals as low as $5,000 where I made $3,000. I've done a lot of different things. I've worked in the corporate side of real estate where I used to work for a company called CoStar. And CoStar is really the number one commercial real estate company, well, commercial research real estate company in the industry. I used to work for a commercial appraiser. So anyway, long story short, I have a very wide experience. And over the course of that time, I decided that I ultimately want to build my expertise in this next stage of my career in the multifamily space. So I took the last 2 years to really study multifamily on a deeper level, to really transfer, kind of change my business model, my business plan from a residential focus to more of a multifamily focus. And all of that has led to basically where we are today, with me being a financial educator, where I'm doing a lot more teaching. I used to didn't really look at myself as a financial educator, but I think over the course of the last year and a half, as I've been teaching more, I've realized that I have a lot more experience and a lot more knowledge than I give myself credit for, as well as just a lot more information and a lot more knowledge than people generally have, because I've studied this industry. I've studied real estate. I've studied, the finances and the economics. And I even went to school for accounting, even though I ultimately didn't want to become an accountant. But now, as a financial educator, I do a lot of teaching, whether it's through workshops, whether it's through seminars, whether it's speaking at conferences, or even nowadays, if it's just coaching and mentoring other people in the real estate industry. And then as an entrepreneur, an entrepreneur is not only somebody who may own multiple businesses. I've owned multiple businesses over the years, own multiple businesses now. And outside of just owning multiple businesses, entrepreneur is somebody who takes higher than average risk. And if you are going to operate in the real estate space, if you're going to invest in a real estate space, then naturally you have to become comfortable with taking a higher than average level of risk. Now, there's differences in the level of risk that you'll take, but nonetheless, you are taking a risk. You're taking a financial risk, you're taking an economic risk, because you are investing hard-earned money, hard-earned capital, and you are risking the loss of that capital. You're risking financial hardship. You're taking a lot of risk in order for you to advance your objective financially. So I like to help people realize that they are entrepreneurs even when they don't realize it. So moving on, And if you have any questions, again, if you're watching this on Facebook, definitely, ask questions. I hope that kind of covered a little bit about who I am. Definitely could tell you more. Just let me know if you want to know more. But moving on. So why are we here today? Like, why am I'm out here in the DC area. Luke is out in Cincinnati. We got a couple folks logging in from Cincinnati. We got other folks logging in from the DMV area. We have folks logging in from New York. And that's just the people that we know who actually commented. But when we do these things, there are hundreds of people who are watching these videos. And so we have people literally from all over the country. But why are we here right now at this particular moment in time? Well, from my standpoint, I am here because I want to build a community of like-minded investors who want to achieve financial freedom, who want to achieve economic independence, who want to make a difference in their lives and make a difference in the lives of others, people who want to learn and who are passionate about self-development and increasing their learning, increasing their education, increasing their life skills. People who are honest and who are trustworthy and who are just good-hearted people. People are good to be around. Things like that. So really fostering a community of people who look out for each other, people who want to support each other and hold each other accountable, and people who want to be a part of change and want to be a part of something bigger than themselves. Although we're going to, over the course of these months and over the course of the years, definitely there will be a lot of sharing of knowledge. There will be a lot of sharing of information, but we don't have ownership over the knowledge. We don't have ownership over the information. Information is always readily accessible, but to take that information from just having it in your mind to actually applying it, and then having an environment where people are able to support you and that you're able to support other people and that people are able to hold you accountable, that's where the community piece comes in. And especially when you are investing in real estate, it is a very individualistic activity. Now, excuse me, by individualistic activity, what I mean is it's not that you aren't going to work with other people, because real estate is absolutely a team sport, right? Like, you need contractors, you need appraisers, you need home inspectors, you need lenders, you need realtors, you need insurance folks. You need all of these people as a part of your team. That's regardless of whether you're flipping houses, you're buying multifamily, you're buying industrial properties, you're buying hotels. No matter what type of investing you're doing in real estate, it's a team sport and you need people to help you execute your business plan. But on the flip side, you as an individual are the person who has to make that decision and who has to decide, one, do I want to invest in real estate? And two, if I want to invest in real estate, what type of real estate am I going to invest in? And then as you continue through that decision cycle, you ultimately have to decide how far and how big you want to go. Well, with each decision that you make during that decision cycle, that's a decision that you're making as an individual and as a person, right? While at the same time, the people around you may or may not be on that same wavelength. So over time, especially when it comes to you trying to build wealth and trying to achieve financial freedom and being proactive about it and being strategic about it and trying to escape, or wherever you are and you're trying to do something different, is definitely going to be different from the vast majority of people around you. So that's where the benefit of having these like-minded communities come in handy. So anyway, moving on from there. All right. So as we're building the community, this is just an example of one of the things that the community has to offer, right? Every month, the second Wednesday of the month, no matter where you are, we get together, right? We get together, we have an opportunity to break bread virtually, right? And to talk about business, to talk about the challenges that you may be facing, to talk about the questions that you have, or to raise questions about the needs that you have so that we know what type of people we need to bring in or what type of resources we need to connect you with, or how we can help you or how you can help somebody in the group. Having this monthly meeting is one example of how we are essentially essentially able to foster a community. And right now, all of the meetings are, we got one person chiming in. All right, right now, all of the meetings are virtual. That's partly by design, right? We can reach and touch more people virtually, but also it's perfect timing because of COVID. I respect COVID for what COVID is, right? Like I don't want to get sick, whether I'm in excellent health or not. I simply don't want to get sick, but I certainly don't want to be responsible for other people getting sick. So we're definitely not doing anything in person right now. But as things start to normalize, as we start to get back to normal life, then we would like to have in-person meetings. And that's why I mentioned earlier, Luke doesn't quite know it yet, but hopefully I'm gonna be able to pull Luke in to run one of our chapters. And the goal is to potentially have chapters, several chapters around the country where we're able to meet in person as well as connect virtually in various ways. And then there are other things which I'll talk about a little bit later where we can foster this community both virtually as well as in person. And again, the whole idea is for us to grow as people, to grow as investors, and to be able to give back to our communities. So, what's up, JR? I see you. All right, so let me move this. Come on, move one more slide. All right, so again with the community, if you haven't already, we have a private Facebook community that I mean it definitely isn't the largest Facebook group out there. And and to put the disclaimer out there, right? Like this isn't the only multifamily group on Facebook. There are multiple Facebook groups that are multifamily or real estate or whatever the case may be. Definitely not telling you like, yo, you can't be a part of that community or you can't be a part of that community. Be a part of as many communities as you want to be a part of. Learn as much as you can learn. We just ask that if you want to be a part of our community as well. And I think our community will be a little bit different. It might be a little bit the same. It might be totally out of whack from whatever else you're expecting. I don't know. But hopefully you can build some friendships. And the whole goal of the community, again, is to learn, to network, to build relationships, and to do business. And these are lifelong relationships. I told someone the other day, for me, when I first got into real estate, I made a commitment that I was going to be in real estate essentially until the casket drops. Like I am dedicated to this industry. And I try to tell people if you're going to invest in real estate and you want to be successful in real estate and you want to be successful over the course of the long term, you got to be dedicated to the industry. You got to be dedicated to your profession. You got to be dedicated to your craft as an investor. And you have to be committed for the long haul. And by the long haul, I mean literally decades. Real estate is, they always say, real estate is not a get rich quick scheme, right? Like you may see all of these different things, especially when it comes to like wholesaling, where people are making a lot of cash. They might make a lot of cash per transaction or whatever the case may be. But as you go through the levels and you look at the different nuances of real estate, it's not a get rich quick scheme. It's get rich or get wealthy, get rich and get wealthy over time. And as you marry these assets, these are assets that many of them are older than you. They're older than your grandparents. Sometimes these assets are 100, 150 years old, and these assets are going to outlive you. As you marry yourself to the game and you dig deeper, you increase the potential for you to be successful over the course of time, which also gives you the strength and the wherewithal to get past the losses that you might experience as an investor. And whether you're investing in real estate, whether you're investing in the stock market, whatever type of investing you're doing, you are going to lose money at some point in time. But what makes it beneficial is that you learn from how you lost money, and then you can utilize that experience and that foresight and that understanding as you move forward. So I always tell people, stick with it for the long haul. So anyway, if you haven't joined the private Facebook community, definitely take a second at some point to just click on the link. I think I did a hyperlink to the post the post for this meetup on Facebook. If you can't find it on the link or can't connect with the link, you could just search Facebook for the Multifamily Investors Collective. It's a private group, so you'll have to request to join, and then we'll approve we'll approve your request, and then just like that, you're in the community. We're not selling you anything. The community is 100% free. It's always going to be free as far as the community. If there's anything down the line to pay for, that's a whole nother, topic. But in terms of the community, we're just building a community of like-minded people, and we're presenting opportunities for you to learn, for you to educate yourself, and for you to build relationships. And then there are different things which I'll talk about down the line. But again, the Multifamily Investors Collective, it's a free community. We got people in there already sharing their goals. We have people who will be buying multifamily properties this year. We have people who ended the year last year buying multifamily properties. So we have real life change that's happening and real life change that's taking place. And this isn't just real life change where, where saying, "Hey, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that." We actually have people doing it, and making very strategic financial decisions that is changing and shifting the paradigm for the rest of their life, and that's going to present them with opportunities that they aren't even yet aware of. So make sure you tap into the group. All right. So moving on from there. All right. Other things to talk about the community, other things that we have going on now and in the future. So eventually, I'm pretty sure it'll be this quarter. I'll be launching a weekly podcast that's just going to interview a lot of industry folks to talk about a lot of different aspects of multifamily investing. The monthly meetups are great, but they're only once a month, which means it's only 12 times a year. There is a lot more information to cover than what can be covered in a once a month meeting. So I'll be launching a podcast. We'll drop a new podcast every week, and that's something that you can listen to, at your leisure, to help you along in your real estate investing journey. In terms of events, I already do a lot of live virtual events, but we'll have live virtual events that will feature me, or it'll feature some industry professional talking about some aspect of real estate investing. We'll also have events where, again, I talked about once we get past COVID, we'll have a lot of live events for people to be able to actually network, to build those relationships, and again, to do business. Again, just fostering community, fostering growth. And as you get further along in your investing career, or where you are right now, we have a lot of people at various stages of their real estate investing career. Some are just getting started. By just getting started, I mean, they're still trying to wrap their mind around investing. We have people who are seasoned, people who are more seasoned and more experienced than me. And we have everything in between. So depending on where you are in your journey, you may need partners right now. You may need partners in the future. You may need mentors right now. You may need mentors in the future. And when as you operate in this business, one thing that you'll learn, and hopefully you learn the smart way and not the hard way, there with the type of money that you talk about in real estate, it opens the door for you to for people to try to take advantage of you, right? For you to run into bad business partners, for you to run into challenging situations. So one of the ways to reduce that and to really eliminate that is to be able to have people that you already have relationship with that can help you see and ask the right questions and do and help you navigate those waters. That's what we want to do with building up this community, to just help provide those resources and those relationships. And then another thing, coaching, mentoring, programs, and masterminds designed to help you with the focus and the accountability you need to reach and to maximize your performance and opportunities. Again, that's what the benefit of the community is. I can definitely tell you, when I first got into real estate, and at that time, I mean, social media was around, but it wasn't like as prolific as it is now in terms of people online and people selling information and people selling content and stuff like that. But my perspective at the time when it came to even hiring a coach or hiring a mentor, it was kind of fishy back then. Definitely was fishy because there were people selling you big. I mean, even now, it's a lot of people, a lot of things you gotta watch out for when it comes to paying for stuff. But nonetheless, just the idea of having a coach, the idea of having a mentor, the idea of having an accountability partner, I wasn't quite as open to it before as I am now, understanding now having a better understanding of how that type of system or how that type of structure can help you really avoid the pitfalls, help you avoid the challenges, or help you get through the pitfalls and help you get through the challenges. So we have programs, we have masterminds, we have things like that that are either in existence or are in development to be able to help you get to some of those higher levels and provide you with a little more tailored care. All right, moving on from there. 741. All right. And again, the community, we're building a community and leveraging technology so we can connect and grow from anywhere. And then eventually we'll be in person where we are actually getting to know one another in person, being able to increase those relationships and ultimately to build and help support each other's businesses. All right. So why multifamily? Um, Multifamily is by far the best business that you can buy, and not just the best business that you can buy in real estate, but really like the best business that you can buy in the business world. Now, why do I say that? Because when you think about business, one, you have to think of multifamily as a business because that's what it is. It's a fully functioning and fully operating business. The business has customers, right? Your residents. The traditional term is tenant. I like to call people residents and not tenants because these are people who are, residing at your property. These are people who are actually living there. And I think when you think of them as residents as opposed to tenants, it just kind of helps you with taking a higher level, a higher perspective on the care that you provide in terms of managing and owning your asset. But nonetheless, you have your customers. Your customers pay for a product, they pay for a service. You have a point of sale system that takes their payment, and in exchange for that, you provide them with a product, you provide them with a service, and then you have this being done in perpetuity. So it's a business, and then it's a business that essentially runs itself. Like, yes, you have to manage the property, you have to manage the asset, and there are people who can help you with the management of that asset and the management of that business. Excuse me. But when it comes to your customers, the asset attracts customers. It markets itself. You can market and you should market, but the business markets itself. There is an existing customer base, and that customer base needs what you have, right? There are a lot of businesses that sell products and sell services that people don't need, but people need housing, right? And as we can see in today's environment, COVID is a perfect example of that. People don't need office space, right? Like, they do need office space, but they don't need office space. People don't need hotels. They need hotels, but they don't need hotels, right? You have a lot of alternatives. You also have just a big reduction in people needing hotels. Industrial is big, but I think industrial is more seasonal in terms of, like, right now, there's a huge demand with industrial because there's a big boom in digital business and e-commerce. But the thing with industrial is you only have one tenant, right? You have one tenant per property. And if that tenant vacates, that tenant goes out of business, you now have vacancy on a very large property. And then single family has its challenges, but everybody doesn't need to live in a house. Everybody doesn't need to own a house. So multifamily, and not just from an opinion standpoint, from a statistic standpoint, multifamily is more resilient and has a higher average rate of return out of all of the various asset classes that you can invest in when it comes to real estate. So why real estate or why multifamily? Again, because it's the best business that you can buy. And we'll just touch on some of the benefits of of buying into this business. You have tax benefits, you have the cash flow, and you have the appreciation of the property itself. Like when you talk about investing, a lot of people talk about buying stocks, right? And you should buy stocks through your 401k or directly. A lot of people talk about Bitcoin and digital currency. You should buy into Bitcoin and digital currency, right? But these things typically don't produce the cash flow that real estate and particularly income producing property presents. In order for you to cash out on Bitcoin and to reap that benefit, you got to sell your Bitcoin, right? Like, so you can't, so you aren't getting that benefit of cash flow. You do get the benefit of appreciation, but the only way for you to tap that appreciation is again to sell your Bitcoin or to sell your stocks. And then you don't particularly get the same tax benefits with, say, a loss in the value of your Bitcoin or the loss in value of your stock as you would the loss in value or let's say depreciation and the depreciation loss that you can take as a benefit of owning multifamily. So those are just some of the differences when it comes to investing in multifamily. But ultimately, the goal for investing in real estate and especially for investing in income producing properties and investing in multifamily is to build wealth. And our goal as a community is to create, to grow, and to preserve our wealth through multifamily real estate investing. Now, that's not to say that you can invest or you shouldn't invest in other aspects of real estate. You certainly can, and people do it all the time. But the vast majority and the people who have the most wealth are the people who own the most units, right? Who own the most units that are properly leveraged, that are taking care of the best, and things of that nature. Those are the wealthiest people because they have cash flow, they have appreciation. And one of the things about appreciation when it comes to multifamily is that appreciation, you can tap into that appreciation. This is real estate in general, but you can tap into that appreciation without selling off your asset. You can still maintain ownership of the asset. So again, our goal is to create, grow, and preserve our wealth through multifamily real estate investing. By creating, we're talking about, okay, if you have no wealth at all, and there are different aspects of wealth. There's your net worth and the assets that you own versus the liabilities that you have outstanding. That's your net worth, which you can increase your net worth by purchasing, a single family house or any other type of real estate asset. But when the type of wealth we're talking about the type of wealth where you actually have financial freedom and you have financial independence. The type of wealth where the cash flow that you receive week to week, month to month, and year to year is more than sufficient to pay for your cost of living, to pay for your lifestyle, not just pay for your cost of living and your lifestyle at a minimum standard, but to pay for it at a level where you're comfortable, where you're happy, where you're able to do the things that you want to do. And so, in order for you to position yourself that way, there is that creation process where you have to acquire the income producing property. And again, it doesn't have to be multifamily, but again, we find multifamily to be statistically the most stable and the most resilient, especially in the next 3 to 5 years as we continue to navigate through this pandemic. Now, I do want to caveat that to say there are other income producing things that you can buy, right? At the beginning, I talked about multifamily being a business. You can buy a business and people buy businesses, right? You can buy a business and that business, as a passive owner, that business can produce a residual that you can then use as part of your cash flow game plan. But you just have to be mindful that businesses can go under. And so if your business goes under and you don't have other cash flowing assets, then you can find yourself in a tough situation if you've built up this life based on your cash flow, and a substantial portion of that disappears because the business folded or something like that. But at the same time, investing in multifamily helps you develop the skills and the understanding that you need to be able to properly evaluate another business, to be able to buy another business, to acquire acquire another business and to be able to manage that business as well. Now, depending on where you are, you may be in a position where you're trying to grow your multifamily portfolio so that you can achieve financial freedom and that you can achieve financial independence. If you're in that situation, our community is designed, the community that we're growing is designed to help you grow. We'll bring in a lot of people who own portfolios and who run portfolios and who manage portfolios of all different types of sizes. And I think no matter what size of portfolio you have or you want to grow, we can all learn something from each other. And then finally, preserving. The preservation piece comes in because let's say you're a high income earner or you're a very successful business owner and you've earned a lot of money, or you're a very successful real estate investor, right? What we strive and what we hope to empower you to do. You're a very successful real estate investor. You may be a wholesaler, a fixer, flipper, whatever aspect of investing that you've been doing, and you've accumulated a nice savings. We want to help empower and equip you with the skills that you need to be able to preserve your savings through the ownership and the management of cash flowing and appreciating multifamily real estate assets. All right, so last month, and again, for anybody watching on Facebook, if you have any questions or comments, definitely put them in the chat. I'm still watching the comments. So let me know if you do have any questions. Now, last month, I put on a virtual workshop where we had a conversation talking about, how do you want talking about what is your wealth number and how to calculate that wealth number. And when we talked about what is your wealth number, our goal and our focus was really to narrow in and to figure out how much money do we need coming in on a monthly basis, on a yearly basis, not just today, but also 10 years down the line, 15 years down the line, 20 years down the line, 30 years down the line. What type of numbers are we looking at in order for us to figure out and to determine how much we need in passive, right? And passive investment income to be able to achieve that financial independence, that economic independence. And then we also dug into figuring out how every single financial decision we make, how that impacts our wealth number and how that impacts the nuances of how we stack our incomes, how we stack our debts, and how all of that influences our ability to achieve and to maintain financial independence and financial freedom. So if you're interested in taking a look at that education, you can find it on my Facebook fan page. The entire video is still there, but even if you don't take a look at it, I ask you the question tonight. Do you know what number you need in order for you to achieve financial freedom, financial education, for you to achieve wealth? And again, wealth in the context of not just your assets and your liabilities, but literally the money that is coming in without you having to work. If you get up today and go to work, or whether you stay in the bed and go to work, whether you physically can't leave the house because of some disability or some detriment, what type of income are you going to have coming in, and how is that going to impact or affect your standard and your quality of living? That's essentially what we're trying to accomplish, is to put you in position to know that number, but more importantly, for you to be able to create an investment portfolio that provides you with that type of income today, tomorrow, 10 years from now, 5 years from now, 20 years from now, whatever your retirement financial, I like to call it your financial retirement, but whatever your financial retirement horizon is, and then figuring that out and then empowering you to continue to increase that wealth so you can continue to increase the quality of life for yourself. And then also, more importantly, being able to give back to others and to be able to give back to your community. So, all right. Got me talking too much. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the multifamily opportunity. I'm gonna try to speed it up. I've been talking a little too much. All right, so the multifamily opportunity. Um, a lot of people, and I'll cover this tomorrow. If you log on tomorrow at 7 p.m., I'll be talking about the state of the multifamily market in 2021. And a lot of people, are probably wondering, well, how has multifamily been faring, with COVID and with people not being able to pay their rent and things like that. So I'll definitely talk about that tomorrow. But in general, from a general standpoint, no matter what, there's the Maslow hierarchy of needs, right? As a human being, there are some things that you absolutely need. You need food, you need shelter. Was it housing, food? There's one more I'm missing. But you need food, right? And you need a place to live. So, as part of our society, and this is just US numbers, there is a significant need for housing, right? One of the things I remember when I got into real estate, they said, you're always going to have you'll always be in business. This was residential, but you'll always have business because there are some things that will never change, right? People are always going to be born and people are always going to die, right? Like, it's kind of crude, but it's an honest statement. So there's always going to be a need for real estate, and when it comes to housing, there's always going to be a need for housing. In this case, there's always going to be a need for multifamily housing. So on this particular sheet, this particular slide, this is just a snapshot from the National Multifamily Housing Council. And the snapshot is basically saying, based on the natural increase in population in the United States, and based on the rates of immigration over the next 10 years, just over the next 10 years, by 2030, we are going to need at least almost 5 million additional multifamily properties that are 5 units or more, right? That's not including maintaining the existing stock that we have, because the existing stock has to be maintained, it has to be updated. But just to meet our housing demand, we need literally millions of multifamily units. So there is a significant amount of opportunity for the multifamily investor, whether you want to stay small, whether you want to get big. The country needs you. And not only does the country need you as an investor, they need you as an owner and an operator of these assets, because as you get into multifamily investing and then as you accumulate units, there's a smaller pool and smaller pool of people who are able to own these assets, who are able to manage them, and more importantly, who are able to provide good quality and consistent housing for the American people. All right. So, talking about acquisitions, right? When we talk about investing, we got to speak in investing terms. And I'm almost done. I know some of y'all have to go, but we got to talk in investing terms, right? So when we're talking about multifamily, we talk about real estate, particularly in this aspect where we're talking about multifamily, we're talking about making an acquisition, right? Whenever we make a real estate investment, we are acquiring. So what does a typical acquisition timeline look like? And no matter what size property you're buying, whether you're buying a 2 unit, a 3 unit, a 4 unit, or a 200 unit property, the timeline is pretty consistent. As long as everything goes well, the funding goes well, the due diligence period goes well, the title work goes well, literally the timeline is the same. So what does that timeline look like? A typical timeline is month one, get qualified. You have to secure your funding, you have to secure your financing. And we'll talk a lot about that over the months. And as time goes on, we're going to talk a lot about financing. But this process is almost identical to buying a home, right? And we have a lot of people who we are encouraging. And if you're watching this and you're listening to this and you are trying to buy your first home to live in, your first single family house to live in, this community advocates and we try to encourage people to avoid making that emotional purchase. Like, don't make that emotional purchase, make a strategic purchase. But we'll talk about that. I ain't gonna get too far off because I'm trying to get y'all out of here by 8 o'clock. All right, so month one, we got to get qualified, right? we got to secure our funding. We got to secure our financing. And beforehand, there's the credit. There's all types of stuff that you might have to get in line. And depending on how you're investing, what type of investment loan you're doing, and what type of investing you're doing in a multifamily space or even a single family space, credit might not even really be an issue. But anyway, we got to get qualified. We got to figure out what type of funding we're going to do. We got to figure out if we're going to do partners and all that types of stuff. Now, month 2. And this all can be done in less than 4 months. But let's just say for starters, we're going to say month by month. Month 2, now that we know how we're going to pay for everything, we can now start shopping for deals. That's working with the realtor. That's working with the broker. That's working through off-market channels with wholesalers. That's looking for investment opportunities where we can acquire a property. Month 3, we're making offers. We're sending out offers. We're sending out letters of intent. We're analyzing deals. We got our eyes set on making that acquisition, and we got some opportunities that we think we want to move forward with. So we're making those offers. We are looking to actually contract to purchase a property. And by month 4, we have gone under contract. We have already started and done our due diligence period between month 3 and month 4. And now in month 4, maybe pushing into month 5, maybe pushing into month 6, if you have an extended due diligence period or something. But definitely by month 4 and definitely by month 5, if we're focused, if we're hungry, we got all our ducks lined up, we should be closing on our property. We should be moving into our property if that's our strategy. We should be implementing our asset improvement program if that's our strategy. Either way, by month 4 and by month 5, we should be seeing that cash flow starting to pour in. And again, one of the major differences between other types of, investing is that this is going to provide you with revenue, right? And we talk about the different nuances. We'll talk about the different nuances of buying something with an existing tenant base or resident base versus buying something that is completely vacant. There's 2 different investment strategies with 2 different implications. But if you buy something that already has existing tenants, then from day one, from the time you take keys and you sign on that paperwork, you have income coming in through that investment. And then we'll talk about, growing your portfolio and, managing the money and all that type of stuff. But at the very top of that umbrella, you now have cash flow coming in to a designated bank account, right? That's where the wealth building begins and the cash flow begins. All right. So moving on from there, we are just about done. All right, we are done. All right, so it is 8:02, man. We got this thing done right on time. So where do we go from here? It's simple, man. Just stay connected. We have the multifamily group. You definitely can add me on Facebook as a friend, like my Facebook page, get connected with Luke, and just join the community, man. We're just exchanging messages. We're exchanging information. I'm constantly looking to find out what do you need. And I'm asking you, what do you need to help you achieve and accomplish your goals? Because again, that's what the group is all about. So I appreciate you again for logging on. I'm gonna ask Luke if he has any parting words or any thoughts or comments he wants to share. And if not, we'll go ahead and call it a night. And again, thank you all for logging on.
Definitely very informative. Like I said, I was learning some new information myself. Just besides the new information, just the motivations of it, just putting things into perspective. That multifamily investing is probably one of the most secure investings that you can do. Like I said, people are gonna always need somewhere to stay, and so, like I said, going forward from here, multifamily investing is definitely going to be top tier in parts as far as my portfolio goes. And I would say, the same should go for anybody else. But first, you got to get the knowledge. Like I said, you got to hop in here and see, like I said, you can purchase a 4-unit property within 4 months. But then you got to come up with positions on how you're going to get fundings and who's going to run your property, and if you're going to reside in those properties, and how has that worked out for other people that has been in that situation. But all in all, those are probably going to be discussed on all those with the other speakers for these additional 11 months. On top of that, maybe additional other events. But when COVID does die down, even like I said, the different chapters that we may have all over America. So this is literally just the start. tap in, man. We definitely got good information. Kevin got good information. And outside of that, like I said, if y'all ain't learning from us, then we learning from you. So
Yep.
it was good.
Absolutely, 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 man. That's what it's all about, man. And I'm working hard to be able to bring in the knowledge and the information, and give yourself credit too, for logging on and being a part of this, because this is high level. This is high level financial information. It's high level investing information. And I always like to quote Nipsey Hussle, man. He got a ton of quotables, but one of his songs he talks about, at the highest levels of business is mailbox money. And when you talk about mailbox money, this is what we're talking about. We're talking about owning assets that produce a residual, and that will literally send you a check whether you're working or not. So again, the bigger picture, the possibilities are endless. You can financially retire in 3 to 5 years or less. The more you have, the more you can give. Whether you want your portfolio to be 40 units, 250 units, 1,000 units, 10,000 units, 50,000 units, right? There are companies that own 100,000 units. I mean, it's crazy. And if you want the freedom to live life on your terms, this can present the possibility and the opportunities for you to be able to do that. So again, I thank you all for logging on. Thank y'all for watching on Facebook, and I appreciate y'all, and we'll see you next month. Peace.
Peace.